TheMesh.tv, an online network of original free audio and video shows based out of Western North Carolina, reaching the entire world. Listen and watch through iTunes or through the website TheMesh.tv.
In the chat room, the word "go" is just entered, so I'm feeling we might be live.
Welcome, everyone, to the disorganization and confusion that is the RealTailgate.com College Football Hangout, a Google Hangout sponsored by Smithfield's Chicken and Barbecue. I'm your host, Big J. Waldo. Ben Swain is our producer, and our technical folks are Talking Moose Media. You can join us every Wednesday live at 9:30 p.m. as Ben, myself, and a rotating set of panelists discuss college football in North Carolina. We'd like to thank our sponsor, Smithfield's Chicken and Barbecue, and they want me to remember to remind you it's just not a tailgate without the barbecue. Log on to RealTailgate.com for special offers, a list of locations, archived editions of this hangout, and please download the RealTailgate.com College Football Podcast. Joining us this week, in addition to myself and Ben Swain from the Walk-Ons, we have J.P. Mundy from SB Nation's blogger So Dear. We have James Curl from RiddickandReynolds.com, whose podcast, by the way, I had the pleasure of watching as it was being recorded. I had difficulty figuring out who James was because he was cleverly disguised as a professional.
Not here.
Lauren Brownlow is also joining us from Fox Sports Carolinas. We have Martin Rickman from Sports Illustrated and Shane Ryan from Grantland. How's everybody doing tonight?
Good.
Wonderful.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. That's great. What is it about today that's so wonderful, Shane?
Well, it just feels like a nice day. The Yankees are on a winning streak. The Little League World Series is in full swing, and so far nobody's attacked me from the window behind me. So it's been a great day.
I did see a couple of flashes of light back there.
Okay, yeah, warn me, please.
We'll give you as much notice as we can.
Thank you.
Lauren and Martin, welcome to your first episode of the College Football Hangout with us. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, thanks.
How's everybody else doing? Big Ben? Gentle Ben?
I'm great, man. How about yourself?
I'm
Why are you shaking your head, Lauren?
full swing.
I'm not.
I'm not Gentle Ben.
Sure, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, all right, fine.
He's always been very gentle with me.
Isn't Gentle Ben the bear on Grizzly Adams?
I'm not
somebody check his IMDb page right now. Right.
Okay, enough silliness.
Can I point out our new addition to Willow Springs? I'm sorry, we just built a new radio tower here, and we're quite proud. It's a little gaudy, and I apologize about that, but we continue to grow down here in lovely Willow Springs.
What station is broadcasting off that tower, James?
I think that's 680 WPTF. I don't know. I could be wrong.
Excellent. I ought to be able to receive it.
It suits the town very nicely, James.
It does. It's a fine centerpiece.
Excellent. All right, let's jump right into the first topic, ladies and gentlemen. So in the Sports Illustrated College Preview issue, there was an article on the rise of academic schools as legitimate football programs. We've discussed this a little bit in the previous shows. Stanford's entering the season as a preseason top 5. Vanderbilt's a program on the rise, and even Duke got plenty of attention as a program overcoming academic barriers towards becoming competitive on the field. In the ACC, are the odds stacked against Wake Forest and Duke? Or, as Gentle Ben suggests, can strong academic reputations help in some cases against traditional football powers? Anybody want to jump right in on that? Shane, you seem like you're ready to go.
Sure. Well, in the famous trivia portion of a football game, I think the academic schools have a definite advantage. in the other more physical parts of the game, it can be tougher. No, I think you look at schools like Northwestern has done pretty well despite having rigorous admission standards, and I think Stanford is the team everybody looks to, the quote unquote smart schools. So it's probably a disadvantage in some respects in terms of recruiting, but I don't think it's a barrier to success. And I think Duke is showing that possibly they're on the rise to becoming one of those teams who are at least a contender within a BCS conference.
Yeah, I think you have to do things a little bit differently, or at least think outside the box somewhat if you're one of those tough academic schools. I mean, I look at Georgia Tech, for example. They weren't mentioned outright, but their academic standards are really tough, and they went option. They went with Paul Johnson, so that's their gimmick, so to speak. And I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing to have something like that. Then it narrows your pool for who you're looking for, and it lets you focus on specific examples of things you want to do.
Yeah, and I think coaching can overcome a lot of that too. I mean, if you have a good coach, it doesn't, especially in a league like the ACC where the coaching has not always been great. I think that having a good coach like David Cutcliffe or Jim Grobe that's going to stick around for a while, I think that can make a big difference too. So I think that helps equalize it at least a little bit.
Well, I think football is kind of a unique sport because you've got 85 guys on scholarship versus basketball where, one or two guys can make all the difference as far as turning a program around or keeping them at a high level like they have at Duke. We saw what Chris Ball did at Wake Forest, for example. But, when you've got to fill out a roster of 85 guys, when you have certain recruiting disadvantages, I think it does impact in your ability to reach certain levels in college football.
Yeah, depth is definitely the biggest issue that we see with academic schools. They don't have the ability to have a good walk-on program. They don't have the ability to have the twos being able to compete with another team's ones. I think that's a definite challenge. But I do think when you look at just the attention that schools get versus the traditional football schools that aren't quite on that upper echelon. I mean, you go up north, for instance, and you mentioned a Duke versus an NC State. Chances are Duke is going to be more well-known than NC State, and that might be a bit of an easier sell on the recruiting trail. I think locally it's a little bit different, but when you get into national recruiting, I think that does help.
I would argue maybe that Duke's, the fact that it's well known in the North is more due to the basketball program. I think if you pitted someone like Georgia Tech against NC State, you wouldn't necessarily see the same dichotomy.
Well, Wisconsin is a hotbed for us right now because of Russell Wilson, so we're mining that
Right.
for all we can.
And the Pacific Northwest, too.
Right, exactly.
Is that tower behind you capable of broadcasting in Wisconsin?
I think so. Yeah, I mean it's pretty impressive.
It's bright.
It's decorative.
I think something else that might factor into, academic school success in football is how much of a priority the school and the athletic department puts on football. I mean, football is very important at Notre Dame, at Stanford, and for years at a place like Wake Forest, they were content to draw 15 to 19,000 people every Saturday. I was looking at some old attendance records, from 98, 99, and all of a sudden, you get Ron Wellman in there and he says, I'd like to be at least competitive in football. And, are they a juggernaut? No, but they can get 30,000 people to come out, most Saturdays. And I just think it's a matter of how much emphasis the school is putting on it as well.
And eventually you're going to need fan support too, because coaches are not going to stick around no matter how successful they are if they're not getting the fans to buy in. You look at those comments that James Franklin of Vanderbilt made this week about the lack of season ticket sales. He's clearly frustrated, and they want to keep him. The next time this round of coaching goes around, if they're not selling tickets, he's maybe not going to stick around at Vanderbilt. He may actually bolt next time. So that's something those two parties need to be walking hand in hand, or you're going to run into trouble later.
But I mean, isn't that a problem that all schools, whether you're small private schools or academic schools or even a public school like State or Carolina, faces when an attractive job opening comes up? I mean, I look at NC State, and I like to think that Dave Doran's going to be able to do great things at NC State. But if he, continues on his rapid trajectory as he has so far in his career, and then, suddenly turns State into a 10-win program, I don't have illusions that, our, strong season ticket sales are going to be able to keep him here in Raleigh. I know Debbie's going to do everything that she can to keep him here, but, if a school that's closer to his, like Wisconsin, for example, I don't know, pick your premier program that has a job opening. Coaches that don't have some sort of a familial tie, like if it's not their alma mater, for example, I think it's tough keeping a coach at a school regardless of their private, public size status.
I think two things that you saw at Duke, specifically with David Cutcliffe, is the effort and the commitment made by the school to not only maybe relax admission standards a little bit, but also to spend a lot of money on facilities. I think once you get to a point where you've kind of built all that you're going to build, then it becomes, what's the next thing? Can you get fans to come out? And you're absolutely right. If the buzz doesn't continue about the program, then you're going to lose those coaches. But Lauren mentioned coaching. Specifically at Duke, I think the increase in the status of the football program had more to do with the commitment from the administration than it did with the coach itself.
Is part of that, I'm coming at it from more or less an ignorant perspective compared to you guys, but surely there's some marketing in that commitment too. I mean, season tickets are just sales, right? And one of the things you're able to use to sell is the success of your program, but surely the effort, the commitment the administration puts into that marketing and sales has to bear a significant impact.
See, I guess I'm like, maybe I just don't know enough about business, but I'm a little cynical about that, or skeptical, I guess is the better word, because really, if you don't win, you can't really market that any differently. Mm-hmm. And if you do win, people are going to be excited. I mean, you look at Duke as a great example. I'm sure this year the turnout from students is going to be higher than it has been, since Spurrier maybe, simply because they had 6 wins, went to a bowl game, and had that dramatic win against UNC last year. To me, that's the only thing. Like, you can be a genius at marketing, but it's not going to matter if the team's not winning.
But if they are winning and they aren't coming, Shane, what do you do?
Yeah, see, I mean, to that, again, I feel like there's not much marketing you can do if they're winning. Can we think of an example of a school where there's been a winning tradition where they can't sell out their football stadium?
Maybe Miami, to some extent.
Yeah, Miami.
Yeah.
Well, I thought they got 40,000 each game. That's an attendance joke, though.
No, but my point being, I think for the most part, if teams are winning, I think people are going to fill because football is just so popular in America. Mm-hmm. I think it would surprise me if there were many schools out there who had such bad marketers that they could their wins didn't mean anything, and the students were like, these commercials just aren't good enough for my football team.
I'm thinking more about a less successful program, particularly at a school that's small and has got obstacles like being so small. Wake and Duke in specific. But I mean, when State and Carolina aren't doing well, there are billboards on I-40 and I-85 saying, buy season tickets, they're still available. And that's October.
Oh, yeah.
All sorts of billboards. This is our state, buddy.
Right.
You know what's funny, Jay? Like, I think when we're talking about marketing, I wonder who's the audience. Is it fans or is it recruits?
I don't know. That's a good point. I think there's both, right?
Well, if you're trying to drive ticket sales, obviously it's the fans. But if you're trying to build a brand, and we've heard a lot of that talk once Debbie got here, was the fact that State's brand is so low on the totem pole. And this does speak to Ben's point about going parts elsewhere. The name recognition of NC State's pretty low, let's be honest. Trying to build that means, marketing not just to your own fan base, but outward as well.
Yeah, for a long time I was under the impression living in New York that New York was also NC State's state. That's very confusing for me. very great marketing.
Those are some classic billboards.
That's a good segue into the next question, I would think. The Tailgate Special from Smithfield's Chicken and Barbecue. It's 8 pieces of chicken, a pint of barbecue, any 2 sides, 2 dozen hush puppies, and a whole gallon of tea. Just go to RealTailgate.com for details, coupons, and a list of locations that open early on game day. Okay, so today Dave Doran announced that State doesn't have a starting quarterback yet. He asked leniency from the fan base as the young quarterbacks come along. It's not going to go over so well, this announcement, is it?
Nope.
Why is everybody looking at me?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think we might be underestimating the honeymoon period that Dave Doran's in right now. I mean, sorry, was that a Freudian slip? I think he's in year one. There's virtually nothing you can do short of screwing up your resume, a la what's his face from Georgia Tech, O'Leary. Yeah. Let's not lie on our resume, folks. There's a few things that a coach can do wrong in their first year to really irritate the fan base. I mean, I'll be honest, I didn't hear those comments, I didn't read those comments, so I'm not aware of them. But I don't have a problem with them. I mean, I'm not going to say, oh crap, if he wants leniency, he's coming to the wrong damn school. No.
James, let me ask, does his lack of decision so far have anything to do with the fact that your podcast Monday covered the defense and promises to cover the offense next Monday, and he's just waiting for that?
He's setting the table for us just right, and I appreciate that.
He's getting out ahead of you.
Well, he moved his coach's show from Monday nights to Wednesday nights so that we don't have that conflict anymore, and I thought that was really nice of him to do. It's really a tremendous olive branch, and I appreciate it.
Have you noticed any men in fake mustaches and beards at your podcast taping?
No more than the usual, is that?
Okay.
Well, but the
guys,
thing
we
is,
just talked about.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Lauren.
Sorry, James is right though. Like the thing is, he is going to have kind of a honeymoon period. People are going to be more patient with him. So then, why even say that? That was kind of my question. And the thing is, I've been covering him most of camp, and he just doesn't say a lot in general. He doesn't give a lot away. So I was kind of surprised when I saw that he said that, because I'm like, yeah, you are going to get the honeymoon period, so why even ask for the leniency? I didn't understand where that was coming from, I guess.
Yeah,
doesn't it make you think... Go ahead, Ben.
I'm dying.
You were in line. This is how we do things. We interrupt each other, and then the next person will interrupt me. Perfect.
It's kind of our thing. We just talked about marketing, right? We talked about building excitement for fans to come out to the park and see the team play, and come out and be patient is not the message that gets me excited about a college football season, and especially in the preseason, especially a new guy coming in. You have carte blanche to say whatever you want to say. I hate to keep going back to Duke here, but Cutcliffe is a perfect example of saying, I'm here to Duke to win a national championship. Or Florida International is the toughest non-conference game any ACC team is going to. It's all coach speak, right? But give me something, Dave Doran. Don't give me come out and be patient. That concerns me.
Was it Doran's way of politely saying, "Give me a break"?
Well, if what Lauren was saying is true, that he already has leniency coming to him as a new coach, the fact that he would say this makes you think the quarterbacks are going to be really, really bad, like absurdly bad. Like he's like, I already have leniency, but you guys are going to need to double the leniency that you were already going to give me.
Like, no, really, you guys. I'm just saying.
However bad you think it's going to be, triple it and don't come to the games. Is what I'm telling you.
But state fans who were following spring practice kind of already knew that already, because Doran's comments following spring practice was, man, I can't wait until Ja'Cory Harris is ready to be our quarterback, because these guys behind me are just a pile of dung. He's basically made no bones about the fact that the current crew of quarterbacks that he's got to work with just don't either fit his system or aren't what he's looking for. And Ja'Cory is.
Ja'Cory Harris?
Did I? I did. Did I? I meant to say someone else, didn't I?
Yes, you did.
Okay.
I was just gonna let you go.
Jacoby
Martin, you cover national college football. Do you see this anywhere else? I mean, is this strange to you?
I haven't seen really it been put that way. I've heard coaches say that their teams just outright aren't very good and that they're worried about their play. Ohio's coach Frank Solich just was talking about his offensive line and said, we're not very good right now. So that's something that will happen. But leniency is not a word you really hear often in college football anywhere, which leads me to believe that it was on his word of the day calendar. Or he's just from the Midwest and we're polite people, so we're just always ready for excuses and we're asking to be forgiven before we have anything to be forgiven for.
Is that how Greg Little got away with 127 mile an hour speeding ticket?
Well, he went to P.J. Harrison's driving school, so.
Gotcha.
If I'm a State fan, I would rather him say what he said than come out and tell me that we've got two really good quarterbacks in camp right now, because when I hear that, I hear we don't have any. So.
Well, yeah, and just don't blow smoke up the place that I can't talk about because we're on a podcast. Just shoot me straight. And if he's saying, if he's not even intimating, if he's downright saying it's going to be a work in progress, that's fine. I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah, Oregon State hasn't really had a good time finding their quarterback yet either, and they're ranked in the preseason poll. I mean, they've got 3 quarterbacks and none of them are any good. So they just didn't even outright name anybody. So I don't know. It's hard. It's hard to balance expectations versus reality, especially when you're coming from a program like NIU where you had the best season, really, arguably, of your program's history. Now expectations are higher, and you don't really know how to play the coach speak game in a different conference.
Yeah, I think it's clear that if he had said this in year 5 instead of year 1, it would have gone completely different, and definitely not gone over as well as it's gone over with the fan base. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I haven't seen the reaction from State fans that you guys have, but yeah, I haven't gotten a sense that we're up in arms about him asking for leniency regarding the quarterback situation.
As a State fan personally, I'm going to just chalk it up as, ooh, there's quarterback controversy. Can't wait. All right, we ran a little long last week, so I'm trying to be the time watcher here. Let's move on to our third question.
That is your job, so it's good that you've taken that role upon yourself.
I've been looking for that job.
I'm going to play host here.
Yeah.
I'm going to get Ben Swain an authentic replica of a Flava Flav clock necklace to hold up in the camera for me.
Another one? I've already got one.
Oh, really? Where is it? You kept this until now? We could have used that last week, Ben. All right, so question 3, or the third topic. I guess there are questions here. This one absolutely blows my mind. So this week, the college football media world saw another example of sexism as a prominent sports writer alluded to football being too difficult for women to understand. Why does this keep happening? Why is this still a thing?
Oh.
I'm not going to obviously point out who I would throw it over to.
Who wants to field this one?
As the most feminine person of the panel, I will go first. I'm kidding.
Why does it keep happening? I don't know. Why is it still a thing? I don't know. I mean, it's interesting. It is SEC country where I'm sure there are a lot of women who genuinely love football and understand football as well as the men do, but it's still SEC country where, sexism can run rampant. Not that it doesn't here in ACC country as well at times, but you know what I'm saying. I mean, it's just, but it's strange. It's like anytime they want to get women to understand football, they always have to tie it into something else. Whether it's like a girls' night, like football 101 for women or whatever, that every school does something like that, or like in this case, food and fashion and whatever. And it's just like, there's plenty of men out there that don't understand football that well. I mean, I hate to break it to everyone. Bad news, I know, but.
So do you, Lauren, if I can, I don't know if we necessarily want to get into this, but do you find that you're in the locker room all the time and I'm not? Do you find that people talk down to you or treat you differently?
Actually, I really don't. I mean, I've seen it happen to other people, that I work with and stuff, but it hasn't really happened to me, at least not to my face. So.
Well, yeah, you mentioned, Lauren, programs that have football 101 or, geared towards female fans. Is that in and of itself sexist?
I mean, I don't know. I don't think it's fundamentally meant to be sexist. The women tend to have fun with it. I know I covered one, and it was Dawn Bunting ran it at UNC, and she was like hardcore into it, and like that was like some advanced football knowledge. But yeah, I mean, I think at other schools it's probably like, this is what a wide receiver is, and this is what a running back is, and it's like, okay, come on, let's just don't treat me like I'm an idiot.
I know at Wakes they run passes, they actually diagram plays, and they do like pickup games. So it's actually kind of, they maybe need to change the name of it. But I think it's a good experience to be able to go on the field and do something like that. And I don't think that hurts necessarily. It's how you phrase things, it's how you approach people, and it's like anything else, treating someone with respect and not condescending to them. And I think what we run into all the time is patting women on the head and saying, like, good job, when really you should just be patting everyone on the head all the time and not condescending to anyone. Like, I think it's just, that's the biggest problem I see with it is there is no dividing line. There are people who like sports and there are people who don't like sports. It's not a women versus men thing. And the fact that an Alabama food blogger felt like he could come off and not only say that in his lead, have his editor not fix it, and write a whole bunch of really bad menu items, like, it just was one of the worst articles I've ever seen.
So here's my issue with this, guys, is if you ask someone to name the top 5 things that they love about college football, they may not get to college football in that top 5 list.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're going to talk marching bands, they're going to talk tailgating, they're going to talk, cheerleaders, they're going to talk just, the general atmosphere. There's so many things. Smithfields, exactly. There's so many things about college football that are enjoyable that have nothing at all to do with football, and I think that's one reason why the sport is so popular, is that it appeals to a wide range of people. And that divide is not women and men. The divide is, football nerds and people who enjoy having a good time and seeing a fun sport being played. I hate that it keeps getting tied back to, it's men that fully understand the sport and women that don't. I'll be the first to tell you, there's a lot about football that I don't understand, but I love it, and so I guess that makes me a woman.
I agree with you, though. I like going to games and insisting that Duke needs to pass more, even if it's clearly not the right option. I like having an opinion I can't defend, that it's not at all sophisticated, but I can just keep shouting. And I think that also makes me a woman. So now we have 3 women on the panel. Who's our next confessor?
There are a whole bunch of sports writers who have the same kinds of problems that the general fan has, where they'll make complaints or they'll cite a certain statistic to a coach, even in a press conference, as if the coach doesn't know. And then that's their rally cry. So it's really not a situation of women versus men. It's just people don't understand football. And if we can educate people to understand football, or leave the people who just want to enjoy the traditions and the tailgating atmosphere and just let them do it, we'll be better off.
Is this a generation of people who grew up playing Madden, feeling like they know the playbooks inside and out, feeling like they can flex some knowledge?
Yes, in my case, absolutely. And I wasn't even good at Madden. I still feel it was bad luck that whole time.
What team were you picking?
Let's see. In Madden, I always probably played with the Giants, and I always ran shotgun and just ran out patterns. That was the sideline out, the 5-yard out that would sometimes go for a touchdown. That was my go-to.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really just more about, women having smaller brains than men, and so I think that's really what this guy was referring to, and, but that's something, we can't help that as women, so, we just try to overcome and push through it,
Science.
So we do the best we can.
Science.
Yeah, it's just science, and I get it.
Well, Lauren, I want to commend you for being able to log in on your computer this evening and
it was really
join
hard.
us.
Yeah.
Her husband did it for her.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm so glad my wife isn't around to hear this. Right?
My wife.
I'll never marry.
Slap.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, we've got a couple minutes left. Quickly, let's go around, get a closing word, starting with Shane Ryan.
Back to me, huh? Well, I don't have anything formal prepared, so I'll just say it's been wonderful chatting with all you guys, and Lauren, I appreciate you being honest with us about the real state of being a female reporter in a male-dominated arena.
Thank you, sir. Martin.
I just want to say, where can I sign up for Football 101?
Lauren.
Thanks for having me. I had a lot of fun. I appreciate y'all having. I think I'm the first female, so I feel like I'm a real trailblazer here on the Google Hangout. So
I've always said that, Lauren.
Groundbreaking.
You guys.
James Curl.
Please visit Willow Springs.
Excellent. JP.
I think we all learned something here today, and that thing is Ben Swain's a woman.
And on that note, Ben?
I just ask everyone for leniency moving forward in everything I do.
Quarterback controversy. There we go. All right, that's a wrap. Thanks again to all of our guests, and thanks to Smithfield's Chicken and Barbecue. Again, reminding you, it's just not a tailgate without the barbecue. Make sure you check out RealTailgate.com, the college football podcast. You can get it on the website, themesh.tv, or on iTunes. I'm your host, Jay Waldo. From my perspective over there is Ben Swain, our producer. Thanks again, and we'll see you next week.
The Tailgate Special from Smithfield's Chicken and Barbecue.
It's 8 pieces of chicken, a pint of barbecue, any 2 sides, 2 dozen hush puppies, and a whole gallon of tea.
Just go to RealTailgate.com for details, coupons, and a list of locations that open early on game day.
TheMesh.tv, an online network of original free audio and video shows based out of Western North Carolina, reaching the entire world. Listen and watch through iTunes or through the website themesh.tv.